You are not a beggar in this world of shadows, pleading for love to return. You are the operant power, the creator, the cause of all that is seen. And yet, here you stand, waiting for someone else to move, when it is you who must first move in imagination. Let me show you something. Close your eyes, not physically, but in your awareness of this world. For the moment, shut out the noise, the circumstances, the silence of the phone, the absence of their voice. Those things are but reflections, echoes of an old state you have occupied far too long. What is seen came out of what is not seen. So if you desire your specific person to chase you, you must first feel what it is like to be someone who is chased, wanted, adored, pursued with urgency and love. You do not need to lift a finger in the outer world. All the effort must be inward. You are not to manipulate, beg, or convince them. They are not the cause. You are. You are the seed, the root, the origin. They are the reflection of your own inner speech, your own secret assumptions, your persistent self-talk. Have you spoken as one who is wanted, or have you, in the quiet of your mind, rehearsed rejection, doubt, and fear? If they have been distant, if they have ignored you, it is not because they choose to, it is because you have chosen, in consciousness, to wear the cloak of unworthiness. But here's the truth. You are worthy because you exist. You were born of love, for love, as love, and love responds to love. So stop looking for evidence in the outer world and become it within. Go into the silence now, not to beg, not to ask, but to know. You say, they don't call me. So what? Call yourself in imagination. Let them call your name in your mind's ear. Hear their voice say, I've missed you. I can't stop thinking about you. I want you. Hear it and do not try to make it happen. Simply hear it and rest in the knowing that creation is finished. The world will move, but only after you do. You want them to chase you? Then feel yourself as the one who is chased, loved, obsessed over. Feel it as though it were already true. See yourself receiving their messages. Hear your friends say, I don't know what happened, but they can't stay away from you. And don't wonder how, just accept it. There is no power outside of your own consciousness. There is no delay unless you imagine delay. There is no resistance unless you expect resistance. And there is no separation unless you persist in the lie that you are unchosen. You are chosen now. You are loved now. You are the operant power now. And as you dwell in this truth, not just for a minute, but until it becomes your natural state, the world will conform. And yes, your specific person will chase you. Not because you made them do it, but because they have no choice. For they are only playing the part your imagination has assigned them. You see now, don't you? You don't need to wish or hope or try. You need only be. Be the one who is chased, and so it shall be. You don't have to fight for love. You don't have to chase anyone. You don't have to figure out how it will unfold. Your only task is to go within, where all creation begins, and assume the feeling of being desired, chosen, and deeply loved. The outer world will always mirror that inner state. Let go of the need to control and trust the unseen process already in motion. When you persist in the assumption that it is done, when you dwell in the end and rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your specific person cannot help but be drawn to you, not by manipulation, but by the irresistible pull of your inner world. Letting go isn't walking away from your desire. It's walking away from doubt. It's standing in the quiet power of knowing that what you imagine is real and what you felt is already yours. So step into that state, live from it, feel it, and the world without fail will catch up to your inner conviction. You won't need to chase them. They'll feel it. They'll be drawn to you like a magnet. Because when you move in faith, when you rest in the unseen, your specific person will chase you. Your specific person is not a separate, autonomous being acting outside the bounds of your consciousness. They are, in fact, a mirror reflecting back to you the assumptions, beliefs, and inner conversations you consistently entertain about love, about relationships, and most importantly, about yourself. This idea challenges the notion that people act independently of our inner world. But once you grasp it, you'll begin to understand the extraordinary creative power you hold. Think about it this way. If you persist in the belief that you are not good enough, not lovable, or always abandoned, you will notice that your specific person behaves in ways that reinforce those beliefs. They might ignore you, act coldly, or pull away. To the unaware, this seems like confirmation of their fears, but in truth, it's only the outpicturing of a state of consciousness, a belief system that has been faithfully impressed upon the subconscious mind and is now being echoed through the behavior of another. What many do not realize is that consciousness is the only reality. There is no other cause. The world, including every person in it, plays out a script you wrote in the inner chambers of your imagination. Your specific person is simply fulfilling a role you have assigned to them, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you assume you are rejected, they will reject you. If you assume you are cherished, they will cherish. It is not manipulation, it is law. Relationships are governed by the law of assumption, not by effort or chance. You are not here to change others through force, persuasion, or pleasing behavior. You change them by changing your concept of self. If your self-concept is, I am unworthy of love, then no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how often you text or call or try to be the perfect partner, your specific person will continue to reflect that core belief of unworthiness. But if you rise into the awareness that you are already loved, chosen, and deserving, then your world must conform and your specific person must change their behavior accordingly. This is not about control over another. It's about mastering your own inner reality. Everyone is yourself pushed out. That means every person you interact with is playing a role in your personal theater of consciousness. They respond to your energy, your state of being, your assumptions. If you want to change the dynamic with your specific person, don't look outward for signs, look inward for roots. What are you truly believing about them and about yourself when no one is watching? Are you imagining conversations of rejection, indifference, or confusion? Or are you hearing words of love, loyalty, and desire in your inner conversations? The subconscious does not discriminate. It accepts what you believe is true and gives it life. Your specific person is not deciding whether or not to come to you. They are compelled by the impressions made upon your subconscious mind. This is why transformation doesn't start with them. It starts with you. Shift your belief and the person must shift too. Not out of force, but out of spiritual law. You must understand that the behaviors, the patterns, the silence or attention you get from your SP are not random. They are feedback, clear, exact feedback showing you what you believe to be true about yourself and about love. Instead of resenting or fearing this reflection, use it. Let it point you inward. If you feel ignored, ask, where am I ignoring myself? If you feel unloved, ask, where am I denying myself love in thought and imagination? Begin to rewrite the inner script. Speak kindly to yourself. Assume that you are the beloved. Walk as though you are magnetic, worthy, irresistible, not to manipulate, but because this is your natural state when free from fear. As you persist in this new assumption, your specific person will have no choice but to conform to your new reality. They will begin to reflect back to you the love you have already claimed within. It may not happen overnight, but as your dominant belief shifts, so will the world. And your SP, far from being the problem, will simply reveal what you've decided to believe about yourself. Choose wisely, choose boldly, and persist in the truth that you are already all that you seek. Imagination is not some idle daydreaming or fantasy reserved for artists and children. It is the very workshop of creation. Everything you see in the world around you, every relationship, event, circumstance, or possession, was once first imagined by someone. Your imagination is not a passive activity, it is the engine room of reality. What you consistently imagine, and more importantly, what you feel to be true in that imagination, must eventually take form in your outer world. Most people believe that life is happening to them. They think they are victims of chance, luck, or other people's decisions. But the truth is far more empowering. You are always imagining, whether consciously or unconsciously, and those inner imaginal acts are seeds being planted in the fertile ground of your subconscious mind. When you persist in an imaginal act with conviction, when you saturate it with feeling, it grows. The world then reflects your inner state, not because you forced it, but because imagination creates reality by law. If you imagine something once, but then contradict it with doubt, fear, and negative self-talk, the effect is neutralized. But if you imagine repeatedly, consistently, and feel it as though it were already your truth, you impress that vision upon the subconscious, and the subconscious must express it in your reality. That is how this world operates. It is not random, and it is not ruled by outer effort alone. Everything begins within. Consider this. Your current life is nothing more than a reflection of what you have imagined and accepted as true up until now. Whether or not you are aware of it, you've been using imagination all along. The difference is whether you've used it deliberately or by default. Think about how often people replay worst-case scenarios in their minds. Imagine rejection, assume betrayal, and anticipate failure. And then they are surprised when those very things show up. But the surprise only comes from ignorance of the law. They were imagining those things and feeling them as true, so by natural law they had to manifest. Imagination fused with feeling is the creative act. It's not enough to visualize something vaguely and hope it comes to pass. You must live in the state of the wish fulfilled. This means imagining a scene that implies your desire is already realized and then dwelling in the feeling of that accomplishment. If you desire love, imagine being loved. If you want abundance, imagine already being financially free, not sometime in the future, but now, in this moment. The subconscious only accepts what is felt to be real now. When you walk by faith and not by sight, you live from the unseen rather than being dictated by appearances. This is the great secret. Your outer world does not create your inner state. Your inner state creates your outer world. If you can fully embrace that, then you no longer need to wait for things to change before you feel peace, love, or joy. You feel those states first in imagination, and the world by law mirrors it back. This is why persistent imagination is so powerful. It's not about a one-time visualization session. It's about embodying a new identity, assuming a new version of yourself, and carrying it through your daily life. When the inner state is solidified, the outer must conform. Not because you chase it, but because it is drawn to you by the magnetism of your inner conviction. And this is not philosophy or wishful thinking. It is a spiritual law. The law of assumption states that whatever you assume to be true and persist in that assumption will harden into fact. So the question is not, can I imagine it? But rather, can I believe it long enough for it to materialize? The world is simply a stage upon which your imaginal acts play out. Everyone you meet, every event you experience is a reflection of some inner dialogue or belief system. You are not at the mercy of life. You are life itself, shaping and reshaping experience through your most dominant thoughts and feelings. If you desire a different reality, then begin now, not by fixing the outside, but by changing the inside. Create the new in imagination, saturated with feeling, and persist in that inner knowing until it becomes your natural state. Eventually, the world must yield. It cannot help but reflect the reality you have claimed within, because imagination, when believed in and felt, is not fiction, it is creation, it is truth, and it is the beginning of all things. To manifest anything in your life, whether it's love, success, healing, or your specific person chasing you, you must feel it real. Feeling it real means assuming the emotional and mental state of the wish fulfilled so vividly and consistently that it becomes natural, automatic, and unquestioned. This is the secret behind all lasting change. Not just thinking about what you want, but embodying it in feeling until it becomes your lived reality within. The outer world is simply the echo of your inner world, and feeling is the language the subconscious understands and responds to. Most people make the mistake of trying to manifest from a place of lack. They think about what they desire, but they feel the absence of it. They say they want to be chased by their specific person, but inside they feel ignored, unworthy, or rejected. These feelings are the true creators. It's not your words or your vision board or how many times you affirm something, it's how you feel. If you feel unwanted, you will continue to experience situations and behaviors that mirror that feeling. If you feel adored and pursued, even if there's no outer evidence yet, the world will begin to shift to reflect that inner state. Feeling it real is not pretending or playing make-believe. It is entering into the state of the desired experience so fully that you begin to walk, think, and behave as someone who already has it. When you desire to be chased by your specific person, you must ask yourself, how would I feel if I knew without a doubt that they are thinking about me constantly, that they cannot get me off their mind, that they are on their way to me right now? What would that confidence feel like in your body? What kind of inner conversations would you be having if it were already done? You don't wait for the outer world to confirm your inner state. That's living by sight. To feel it real is to live by faith. To occupy the emotional state before it shows up. The world cannot help but conform to that inner conviction. The more you dwell in the feeling of being wanted and desired, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it stops feeling like an effort. It stops feeling like a technique. It becomes who you are. You must remember that the subconscious mind does not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. It simply accepts what you repeatedly feel and assumes to be true. So when you enter into imagination and feel yourself being pursued, cherished, and adored, the subconscious takes that as your truth and begins to rearrange the outer world to match it. This is not magic, it is law. To feel it real, practice going into scenes that imply your desires already come to pass. Don't force anything, just gently, lovingly, and persistently imagine conversations, moments, and experiences that make you feel like the most wanted person in the world. Hear your specific person telling you how much they need you, how much they've missed you, how they've realized your value, and most importantly, feel the reality of that. Feel it in your chest, your stomach, your mind, until it becomes more real than the silence or distance in the outer world. You don't have to constantly monitor the 3D world for results. In fact, the more you look to the outer for reassurance, the more you affirm that it isn't done yet. Instead, stay anchored in the state of the wish fulfilled. Remind yourself gently, this is who I am now. I am the one they want. I am the one they chase. I am the one they adore. This isn't arrogance, it's ownership. You are claiming the truth that you desire to live, and by doing so, you bring it to life. And let the feeling take root. Allow it to grow in you so steadily that your entire inner world shifts. And when it does, the outer world has no choice but to catch up, because everything you experience is the harvest of seeds you planted in feeling. So plant love, plant certainty, plant the joyful feeling of being pursued and valued. This is not about getting someone to change. It's about changing the inner atmosphere in which your life unfolds. It's about embodying the version of you who is already loved, already chosen, already chaste, and letting the world reflect that truth back to you. When you feel it real long enough, deeply enough, and naturally enough, it becomes your reality, because consciousness is the only reality. Creation is not something you do, it is something you align with. Everything you could ever want, everything you long for, already exists in the invisible realm of imagination, in the spiritual substance of consciousness. You are not trying to build your desire from scratch. You are simply selecting it from an infinite field of already completed possibilities. This is the profound truth hidden in plain sight. Creation is already finished. You don't make it happen. You accept it as done. When you desire something, that desire is not random. It is a signal, a spiritual indicator, that the thing you long for is already yours in another dimension of consciousness. The moment you feel the urge for something, it means it exists, it is real, and it is calling you to rise in awareness and receive it, not by effort, not by forcing, but by accepting it as a fact in your inner world. To accept something as done does not mean you sit back passively. It means you actively dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. You stop longing and start living as if it's already yours, because it is. There is nothing to fight for. You are not trying to convince the universe to give you something. The universe, or more precisely your own consciousness, has already given it. The only question is, will you accept it? Acceptance is an inner act. It is the assumption of the feeling that what you want is already yours. It is claiming it internally before there is any outer evidence. The world tells you to believe it when you see it. But the spiritual law is reversed. You will see it when you believe it. Belief is what gives form to the unseen. That faith is activated through your assumption, through your willingness to claim your desire as a present fact. This is why it's so essential to stop looking to the outer world for confirmation. The world will not show you the new reality until you occupy it within. You must go first. You must dwell in the new state, mentally and emotionally, regardless of what the 3D world shows you. You must persist in the assumption that what you want is already done, already true, already yours. And as you do, your outer world will begin to reflect that inner knowing. Creation being finished means there is no competition, no lack, and no delay, except the delay caused by your own hesitation to accept it. If you believe it's far away, it will be. If you believe it's difficult, it will be. But if you accept it now, if you move into the state of already having it, you collapse time and bring the unseen into form. You are not chasing your desire, you are choosing it. That choice happens not with effort, but with identity. You become the version of you who already has it, and reality must rearrange itself to support that new self. Imagine a radio broadcasting thousands of stations. Your desire is already playing on a frequency. You don't create the frequency, you simply tune in. And how do you tune in? Through feeling, through imagination, through assumption. You align with a version of reality where your desire is already a fact, and you live from that place internally. That is all that is required. The old you, the one who wakes, doubts, and wonders, must be left behind. You are stepping into the new self who already lives in the fulfillment of the desire. This self doesn't hope for change, they embody it. They feel it, breathe it, speak it. They are no longer asking, when will it happen? Because they know it already has. And that knowing, that assumption, is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the imagined and the experienced. You don't have to figure out how it will come. You only have to know that it is already done. The path, the people, the timing, they are all contained within the state of the wish fulfilled. The more deeply you rest in that state, the more naturally everything unfolds in your favor. Reality becomes fluid. Circumstances shift. People behave differently, not because you forced them, but because you moved into a different version of yourself, and the world, being your mirror, had no choice but to reflect that change. Everything you want is already yours in the invisible. It is complete. It is waiting not for the world to change, but for you to change your assumption, to stop desiring and start knowing, to stop wishing and start being. Creation is finished. Your only task is to accept it as already done. The greatest barrier to manifestation is the human obsession with control, especially the desire to know how something will happen. The mind craves logic, steps, evidence, and guarantees. It wants to predict and plan every move, every turn, every outcome. But when it comes to manifesting your specific person, this need to figure out the how becomes the very thing that blocks the manifestation itself. The truth is, your only responsibility is to assume the end result, to live in the state of the wish fulfilled. The how is not your concern. The moment you try to manipulate the how, you step out of the creative power of your imagination and into the limitations of the logical mind. To let go of the how is not indifference. It is deep spiritual trust. It is surrender to the intelligence of consciousness, the unseen force that brings all things into being. You must understand that this force, your own wonderful human imagination, is capable of orchestrating connections, encounters, timing, and shifts in ways that your conscious mind could never predict or arrange. Trying to figure it out only interferes with the process. You plant a seed in the soil and you do not dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You nurture the soil with your inner knowing, with your feeling, with your persistence in assumption. When you truly live in the end, you no longer need to ask when, where, or how. You already have it in your inner reality, and that inner reality is the only thing that matters. When you persist in that state, when you feel loved, wanted, pursued, chosen, your specific person must conform to that assumption. It is law. The outer world always reflects the inner state, not the other way around. The mistake many make is trying to visualize or affirm while secretly looking for signs, for progress, for proof. They say the words, but they don't let go. They affirm love, but they watch the phone every hour. They imagine being pursued, but they question whether it's working. This is not faith. This is doubt disguised as action. True faith is still. True assumption is quiet and firm. It doesn't chase, it doesn't beg, and it doesn't worry. It knows. Letting go of the how means resting in the feeling that your specific person is already on their way to you, not because you forced them, but because the nature of reality demands it. You created the end in consciousness. You occupied it with feeling. The bridge of events, the how, will naturally unfold without your interference. The moment you interfere, you communicate to your subconscious mind that it is not done yet, that you don't really believe, and the subconscious responds accordingly. Sometimes the how is so seamless, so ordinary, that it seems like coincidence. Sometimes it's completely miraculous. Unexpected, strange, perfectly timed. That's not your job to predict. Your job is to dwell in the inner state of being loved and chased, and to let go of everything else. The more you let go, the faster it comes. Not because letting go makes it happen, but because letting go means you have accepted it as already done. There's a quiet confidence that comes from true surrender. It's not passive, it's powerful. You stop looking for signs because you are the sign. You stop checking their social media because you know what's coming. You stop needing reassurance because you feel the truth of it in your body. That is the energy that moves mountains. That is the energy that bends time and reorders circumstances. That is the energy that draws your specific person back to you, not as a stranger, but as someone who sees you clearly, who feels pulled toward you without understanding why. Letting go of the how is a sacred act of detachment. Not detachment from your desire, but detachment from the conditions, the methods, the expectations. You no longer care if it comes through a message, a visit, a mutual friend, or a sudden insight. You are anchored in the knowing that it will come because it already is. The unseen is more real than the seen. You don't beg the unseen to show itself. You prepare a place for it in your heart and let it appear in perfect time. Stop searching for the steps. Stop asking what to do next. You've done it. You imagined, you felt it real. You claimed it as yours. Now walk in that knowing. Trust that consciousness, the creative power within you, is arranging all things in your favor. The bridge of incidents will unfold with effortless precision, and when it does, it will feel so natural, you will barely remember how much you once were, because the world is not deciding your fate. Your inner state is. And when you let go of the how, you let the unseen do what it does best, turn assumption into reality.